So our last part of our NEPA equation is our net exports, right? The definition of aggregate demand is equal to all of the spending on domestic goods and services So all the spending on domestic goods and services plus our exports minus our imports. And broadly speaking, there are two sets of factors that cause shifts in both the export and the import demand. The first one is the change in relative prices between the countries. And so this has to do not just with the exchange rate, but also with something called the purchasing power parity measure. So the purchasing power parity measure takes into account not just the exchange rate, but also the differences in prices. And then the second factor that influences export and import demand is going to be the relative growth rate between the countries. With obviously the stronger, larger economies that are growing faster, importing more goods from their trade partners than the country that is either experiencing stagnation or perhaps even a recession. So the size, so this is just what causes shifts, right? What causes trade between countries is a whole nother set of options we're not really going to get into. But just for your edification, trade has to do with size of your country, how are you landlocked or not, and then how far are you from the other country. Distance squared is still one of the best measures that we have to explain trade ties, because it costs money to ship stuff from one country to another, right? Sometimes a lot of money. And so distance is a huge factor for just causing trade to emerge and take a level. This is talking about movements of those levels that are already established. Does that make sense? So that's why size of an economy is not in here, but changes in the growth rate is. Because we're just talking about the trade and how it evolves over time, not necessarily how the trade emerged in the pattern or dynamic that we currently experience it.